There we go. Awesome. We are officially live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chiropractic Compass podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reuter, and today we are here with Dr. Jonathan Verderame, and I hope I said that correctly. If I didn't, he will correct me. He's actually going around sharing this video right now all over his platform and social media so that he gets it to as many people as we possibly can. So with that being said, this podcast is brought to you by the legendary Chiropractor online community, and we are doing an afternoon edition. Dr. Jonathan is out in Norway, which is absolutely amazing, and I love interviewing people from Europe, and just working out the time zones is sometimes a little bit tricky, but we make do, and we always make it happen because their content, their value is always just as important as a local doc here in the United States. So you can learn a lot from these people, and you can learn a lot of and gain a lot of value from what he has to say. He's going to talk all about the Axiom seminar today. He's going to talk about the importance of philosophy, and he's going to talk about his successes, his failures, and his journey so far on this chiropractic journey that he's on and this life journey that he's on. So he's a chiropractor born in Arizona, and he is moved out to Norway to practice chiropractic, and actually has 2 chiropractic clinics out there, and is absolutely crushing it. So let's see if he's back. Look, it worked. Sweet, Doc. All right, cool. So Doc,
there we go.
Awesome. So without further ado, I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us where you're at, tell us, kind of how you got to where you're at, not only in chiropractic, but in life and in general. And we'll dive, after you do that, while you do that, I will share this video as much as I can, and then we'll dive right into content, right into value, and give these people what they want.
Love it, Johnny. Thank you so much, man. I think the story is important. Like we started talking on the back end about, every week I do a health class, and every week I tell my story about why I'm inspired to be a chiropractor, why I do what I do, and why for me it's not a job, it's a mission, it's my life, it's everything for me. So, my dad was in a serious accident as a child, and I remember learning at a very young age just how important health was. And I figured out how big of an impact it had in the transformation of his life, and it also helped me. So, I wanted to be a chiropractor since a young boy, and I didn't know what the hell he did, but I saw how big of an impact he had on his life and my life as well. So, I went to Palmer College, graduated, came straight to Norway, and I've been here for about 8 years now.
Awesome. That's
what the 5-minute version.
What's that?
That's the short version.
I was just going to ask, what brought you out to Norway?
I think it's a mix of like this romantic idea we have about going across seas and creating life. And, when I did the journey, when I came over here, I took my ship, I broke it apart, I built my shelter, and there was no going back. So having that commitment to excellence, the commitment to my future self, and not letting my past hold me back or who I was, but who I'm becoming.
Absolutely. I think that's really important. So Doc, I'm gonna just bullet list the topics we're gonna talk about today, and then we'll dive right in. So number 1 is an axiom. Dr. Jonathan's going to help explain what that means and why they named their seminar they do over in Norway that name specifically. And then we're going to talk about the importance of philosophy, really why philosophy is important for not only the chiropractor, the chiropractic student, but also in your everyday life and your lifestyle. And then we're going to get into his successes, his failures, and his journey of what got him here and why he's putting on a chiropractic seminar in the first place, because we all know it's not an easy undertaking. So go ahead, Doc. What is an axiom? What does that mean to you, and why did you name the seminar that?
Love it. Well, I think that statements very often will close the conversation, but questions open it, and it allows for learning. It allows for enhancement, understanding. So what do you think a principle is? If I can turn the question around back to you, what does a principle mean to you, Johnny?
A principle is a way of life to me, I believe.
So in Axiom, if you look up the Webster's definition of Axiom, it's very enlightening because these are truths. These are truths that don't need proof. These are truths that are universal by nature, by definition. And I think it's a beautiful exploration about what chiropractic truly is.
Yeah.
If I were to drop the keys, they fall every time, and this is a principle of gravity. So there are certain truths, there are certain statements that are true based on their definition. So let me give you a couple examples to unpackage that statement a little bit more. All bachelors are unmarried. Now that's a true statement based on how we define the word bachelor. Chiropractic is the philosophy, science, and art of things natural, a system of adjusting the segments of the spinal column by hand only for the correction of cause of dis-ease. And this is what chiropractic is based on definition, based on how the founders, how Stevenson and then BJ agreeing to the definition founded the profession. So, with Axiom seminar, there's a seminar on every corner in America. And in Europe, I felt quite alone. I felt like that we needed a fellowship. The legacy is Jonathan Verderame legacy. The legacy is allowing vertebral subluxation detection correction to continue so that my children can live vertebral subluxation free life and that their kids can live that same life of greatness and unleashing that potential that's within that greatness, that perfection that's within every man, woman, and child. So Axiom Seminar, it's philanthropic, it's a fellowship. I think one of the big catalysts for Axiom, if you look at the WFC statement a few years ago, they had decided to abandon their idea, their agenda, their propagation of unifying the profession. They said that they had failed and that it wasn't possible. And I think this is a profound moment in Europe's history, and I would argue the entire humanity's history for a number of reasons. Lack of connection, disassociation, disconnection with the truth, and axioms are truth. So it's coming back to what are those truths, and I think Travis Corcoran has been instrumental and profound in Axiom's future, our mission, and our vision statement, which is that we want to unify chiropractors on two things, and those two things are logic and reason. I think having Travis Corcoran come on one of these calls in the future would be very, very profound for your students, because I think that we have a very big disconnection with the truth. We have our feelings and we have our beliefs, but we don't have an underlying understanding of how to get to the truth and what truth is and what it means. So I hope that clarifies a little bit. Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I wrote down a couple things, and truths are law by definition, right? You gave the example of bachelor. That's a fact. You can read that straight out of Webster's dictionary. And everyone should know, what is factual and what is not. And then we talk about the truths, right? And I actually wrote down Dr. Travis's name. I've seen him all over Facebook, and I actually had him for season 2, and I ran out of people to schedule, so I had to bump to season 3. So we'll get him on here eventually for sure. And but logic and reason, where do you think? Just kind of to go on a side note here, where do you think we go wrong with those two things in chiropractic? Like, I think that, logic and reason sometimes get pushed aside over our, like you said, our feelings, our emotions, and that EQ kind of takes over, and that educated mind gets in the way or leaves.
So there's a couple challenges here, Johnny, and one of those things is that emotions are important. Emotions are profoundly strong and impactful for your life. The amygdala fires 1,000 times faster than the prefrontal cortex. So, we know that emotions are strong, they're powerful, they're quick, that your life can change in a second based on the emotions that you believe. And so I think that on this spectrum of mechanistic, vitalistic, spiritualistic to the materialistic, I think there's dangers on both ends, as Travis talks about. And this is one of the things it's sharpened our vision for the future. And I don't think there's a chiropractor on the planet, no matter where you are on that spectrum, that wouldn't agree that logic and reason are of the utmost importance for their life, their profession, their career, and their patients.
Yeah.
It's like the more understanding you have, the more you can do with that understanding.
Yeah. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I just wanted to follow up on that because I think it's important that chiropractors and students especially are able to hear that, because we learn a lot in school, right? But we also have to know how to deductively reason our way through the material that we learn.
There you go.
To apply it to patients, to our lifestyle, and to our families. And I think that's really important what you said. So thank you for sharing that. So let's go into the importance of philosophy. What does philosophy mean to you to start this conversation off, Doc?
Well, I think that everybody has a philosophy, whether they're aware of it or not. Chiropractic philosophy, business philosophy, you can get a degree in medical philosophy from Harvard. So philosophy's there. I don't see why there would ever be an argument about the importance of philosophy in your life, your patient's life. Philosophy specifically for me, and it's interesting because coming as a new graduate out of school, so on fire about chiropractic, so sold on chiropractic, so sold on what I was doing, that I just wanted to open the fire hose, tell my patients about D.P. Palmer, B.J. Palmer, Harvey Lillard, and how great chiropractic was. And I was more in love with the profession than I was in love with my patient, and understanding who they were, their desires, their needs, their goals. And it was actually Sean Dill and the BDC principles that helped me with that, to understand that I need to actually fall out of love with chiropractic and more in love with my patient and what to do. With that said, philosophy is the lens through which you view the world. It's not a three-legged stool like they teach you in school. Philosophy is that lens. It's how you see the world. So if you're trying to paint the house a certain color and you've got rose-colored glasses on, it's going to be hard to get that house a certain color, say blue, for example. Until you keep that lens off, change it, clean it up, see it from a different angle, you're never going to accomplish that goal of painting the house. And so that's analogous to whatever is in your life. So as chiropractors, we see the body as self-healing, self-replicating, self-evolving mechanism. And our job, our vehicle, our objective as chiropractors is to allow the brain and the body to communicate better, to allow the body to adapt better, this salutogenic model, And so this is axiomatic in nature, that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that when I correct vertebral subluxation, that person is going to adapt better. And when they adapt better, they function better. And they have the 100% chance to therefore heal better. And does that mean they're going to feel better right away? No, and that's not up to me. That's up to the human body. That's up to them and where they are in their stage of evolution and repair. So philosophy is of the utmost importance. Philosophy is the driver. It's everything to chiropractic. Without it, what are you left with? We're left with a mechanistic approach to treating low back pain, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Johnny. I see you're writing. I got your wheels turning, and I hope that we got
I take good notes. I always fill at least a page and a half or two on these interviews, and I always tell people that I go back.
Let's go for 3.
What's that? Let's go for 3.
Let's go for 3 pages.
I'll get there. But I always take notes because I think it's important to understand this. But I always go back and I'll watch this again and again and again, because you always take away something new every time you watch it. And while you're interviewing somebody, it's kind of difficult to take down all of the little golden nuggets that you're saying. But I do take some things that I want to circle back to. And I loved what you said about philosophy being a lens. Philosophy is a lens that we view the world through, and that's so important to remember, because that helps you, like you were saying, you wanted to just shoot a fire hose at people about chiropractic philosophy, science, art, like all of that. But it's important to remember that your lens isn't the same as the next person's or your patient's. So you have to meet them where they're at. So if both of you, because they're always going to come into the situation with their lens. So if you're able to remove your glasses or your lens or whatever kind of metaphor you want to use in that situation, if you're able to remove that and meet them where they're at and look through their lens and see you through their lens, that's where I think that patient connection comes from. That's where that relationship starts. And then you can start foundationally with truth, with honesty, with authenticity and transparency when it comes to portraying and relaying the message of chiropractic and how the body's going to heal. Which brings me to my next point. You said adapt better, function better. And that is what chiropractic does. Chiropractic allows the body through correcting vertebral subluxations to adapt better, therefore leading to a conclusion of functioning better. And we know that to be true. We know that to be true. We've seen Heidi Havoc's work, and we've seen other chiropractic research of removing vertebral subluxation and fixation and restriction, that when we do that, we get better function, better results. And I wanted to ask you this because I wrote it down, and I think it's deeper than I intended it on being, but I'll ask you anyways. Chiropractic relies a lot on the human body to do majority of the work. The chiropractor just does the simple thing of adjusting the spine for vertebral subluxation. We give a lot of reliance on that person's human body. What are your thoughts? Does that hurt us or break us or make us better than other professions? Like where do we lie on that and putting all of that power into their human body?
I think to some degree there, Johnny, that it's actually liberating. And I think that this is our unique selling proposition, can you say, in a way that it's not just a segmental fixation, it's vertebral subluxation.
Yes.
And this is something that we can locate, we can analyze. We have reliable, replicatable means to identify it. We have operational definitions of what it is and how to quantify it. It's really a non-issue. It's the equivalent to dentists asking and questioning what is what is a cavity? So it's a non-issue in that regard as far as what subluxation is. And now your question as far as does it limit us? And I didn't really understand that. Does it limit us relying on the human body? Was that your question?
Yeah, like so we are only allowed to influence their individual self by applying the adjustment. Obviously there are limitations, that's in the principles, there's limitations of time and matter, but does that limit our scope of we're not going in, and I'm not saying that's necessary, I'm not saying that at all, I'm just trying to dig deeper into, how much faith are we putting into their body to do the rest of the job for us?
That's right. So chiropractic, we have a narrow scope with a very broad application. What I mean by that is that the nerve system controls every cell, tissue, and organ in the body. Therefore, what other greater gift could we give humanity than the correction of vertebral subluxation, restoring and removing the interference to that fullest expression? I think it's liberating on a number of reasons, mainly that we allow that their body does the healing. The chiropractor, no doctor of any kind, no physical therapist does the healing. It's them and them alone. So you can take a corpse, you can put a cast around the arm, but that broken bone isn't going to heal on a corpse. Yeah. So this is what I mean by liberation, in the sense that they start to realize that greatness within them. And a lot of times, getting back to the earlier statement of what my focus is, what my objective is, I very often tell them straight up that I don't care where their pain is. I care where it's coming from, because then we can do our best to help you in the future. So it is this communication process. It is a system that we take from where they are to where we want them to be with their understanding. And, chiropractic can help everybody, but it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's only for people that are willing to invest their time, energy, and money and see the true value of health for the future generations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And liberating for you, I think what you're saying is it's liberating for you, the doctor, as well as the patient, because once they understand that big idea,
right,
and you've now been able to express chiropractic philosophy and educated them on their healing abilities, I think that they walk out of there like, Superman or Superwoman, and they're like, this is pretty awesome, This is pretty cool that I can go to this person, they can adjust me. And it's amazing what happens. The repercussions are almost always positive, but like you said, it's not for everybody. It's for that person who's willing to sacrifice and, put up the time, money, and want to be there, I guess. So with that being said, that philosophy is so critical to us and to chiropractic. How does that philosophy tie into your Axiom seminar and into Axiom?
That's right. So we've brought together the best chiropractors around the planet. And so last year we had guys like Tim Young, we had Brett Jones, we've had Sean Dill every year, David Fletcher, just really remarkable people that you want to make a remark about. So I think for a very long time, us as a profession, we've been in this game playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Love it.
And so that's really our strategy with Axiom, is that we want to really create this community that is going to shape and change our future in Europe, as far as allowing every chiropractor to correct vertebral subluxation, allowing them access, and allowing them technology, allowing them to learn this in schools. So it starts with the students. It starts with you guys, man. It's like you guys are our future. And I really appreciate you doing this, Johnny.
Hey, absolutely. That's what this podcast is all about, bringing amazing people like you on this show and talking philosophy, talking business, talking principles, because this is the stuff that some schools offer, but not to the extent that you get it on social media, or you can get it through talking to people like you. And that's why at the end we'll give out your I'll let you give out your contact information if anyone wants to reach out to you. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about your successes and your journey, because we all know, the entrepreneur world, the chiropractic world, life in general has its ups and downs. And like you were saying, it came from something. Right, the Axiom seminar came from something. Your mentality to move to Norway and practice chiropractic there came from an idea and this passion and this desire. So talk a little bit about that journey that got you there.
Dude, I remember one of the biggest challenges in school was about second trimester, learning pathology, and just really wondering what chiropractic truly I was more fired up going into school than when I got to school, and leaving school and knowing very, very little about what I was supposed to do to be successful. So, wanting to drop out of school after second trimester, but understanding that if I did that, I would forever regret it, and I didn't see any other thing that I could ever imagine doing. So pushing through, getting through that, moving to Europe, moving to Norway was a really tough thing. Imagine for a second coming to a place where you don't speak the language, buying toilet paper, buying, forks is a challenge. The basic necessities are tough. But overcoming that. So it's like all these huge things in my life, whether it was breaking up with a girl, whether it was meeting a girl, whether it was starting a business, whether it was moving to all of these challenges, all of these heartbreaks have been absolutely some of the most profound instances and tests in my life to make that decision, say, okay, it's not what happened to me, it's how I respond to it. And what am I going to do now? And what's next? Am I going to let these emotions, these feelings of fear, these feelings of doubt, these past experiences, are we going to let these things drive my life, or are we going to stand firm on our vision? Now, most people, they have hopes, they have wishes, but they don't actually have a goal that's systematized, broken it down geometrically into steps. And so, the first 2 years of struggling, not having a system, having a really bad associateship, being left lonely, it was another decision I had to make. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to form some systems. I'm going to figure out what it takes. I don't recommend everybody do that because it's a lot of waste of time, energy, and money. But it was something that I actually feel really, really strongly about, that was super important for my life, because now I have systems that are constantly evolving, that I'm not fearful of change, that I'm ready. I've got a Parthenon of things that I can do differently, change, adapt, evolve, to enhance my practice. And moving forward with Axiom, it's no different, seeing the necessity of a fellowship, of a community, and having this organism drive itself to some degree, while staying true to the principles,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love what you said. You're tested throughout life, and this isn't an educational test. This isn't school. This is real life scenarios where, you try something, you fall flat on your face. And I like what you said about, and I'll get back to the test point, but I like what you said about the point of finding the systems. Don't waste your time and energy and expend all of that on creating your own systems and procedures. They're out there, guys. These things are out there. That's why these coaching groups, or find yourself a mentor or a coach like Dr. Jonathan, that someone that you really resonate with, that can help you and guide you and give you these stepping stones to be successful, so that you don't have to sit there for hours and hours and hours and do this all by yourself, because you're not in it alone. And the test point is that we are tested to get back up, right? I mean, we're tested to see if, like, this is our time to shine, and sometimes it takes going back to step one, square one, to get back to where we were, and then exceed past that, expedite the process past that, which I think is super, super important that you were saying. So sometimes it takes 4 steps back to get 16 steps ahead, but it's worth it in the end, I would say.
I think your comment about finding a mentor is absolutely vital to your success. Now, I think in chiropractic, we fall very often victim to this ancestral, keep doing what every other chiropractor is doing, when the reality is, if you look outside of chiropractic, most of the greatest innovations and breakthroughs didn't happen inside of the same person's profession. Like, let me give you a couple examples. Fiber optics didn't come from the telecommunications. It came from aerospace engineering.
Right.
Like Viagra wasn't, Viagra was for the heart. Rogaine was for acne. Like the ballpoint pen was for like roll-on deodorant. So very often, go outside of your profession to see what other professions are doing, what other mentors, what other successful people are doing, how they act, how they behave, what's their mindset on money. It's not a bad idea either. So find some systems that work chiropractic, but don't be afraid that you need to stay within chiropractic to learn these strategies of business. And very often it's better to go outside of chiropractic, especially for the business. We've got a lot of self-proclaimed leaders and stage monkeys that are proclaiming to be experts, when the reality is recycling other people's information. This thought, again, is from some of my mentors and some people, digital mentors, as you call them, like guys like Jay Abraham and Keith Cunningham and Tony Robbins. I hope that helps, brother.
Absolutely, it helps a lot. That is a huge idea. People have made light of it, but look outside the profession, guys. Dr. Jonathan and I were talking before we went live about finding these people, and like he said, I call them personally virtual mentors, of finding people on Facebook, social media, technology, that are constantly just pouring out content and giving you everything that they have pretty much for free, and you can download it and apply it in certain aspects of your life. Obviously, if you want to work directly with someone, you might have to pay for that service, but you'd be amazed at how much you can actually just learn from just engaging on Facebook for 5 minutes and not worrying about, who's pregnant, who's had a bad day, and who's picking up, a newspaper or whatever. And, but I wrote this note down that said, when you go outside your profession, it allows you to not only take the systems and procedures from there and apply them to your profession, but it also allows you to look at it from a bird's eye view of your own profession and saying, are we doing things correctly? Or where do I insert myself and my strategies and my expertise into the profession? So it allows you to kind of step back and look over the profession and say, where are we, where are the hiccups, where can I help, and where can I apply a solution that I'm now learning from outside of the profession. And I think that can take you pretty far as chiropractic's concerned, as well as life is concerned. So,
well, I think you would agree that we don't learn a lot of business strategies in school.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
Right. So where are you going to get that education from, And I think that you don't need an MBA to be a successful business person. You just need to learn proper systems and procedures and implement those and be willing to adapt and change those when the times change. Because Facebook ads may not be around at the same capacity forever. They're going to increase. Google ads have changed. So you're relying heavily on those two things. Well, how many referral systems do you have? I've got at least 5 or 6, and that's still not enough. I think referrals are arguably the best types of patients coming in. Why? Because they're pre-qualified. They already understand. They're easier to sell to. They're easier to buy. They buy more frequently. So, first and foremost, start with at least 5 to 10 referral systems that you're using on not an episodic nature, but every single day, and implement those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You heard it here first. At least 5 to 10 referral systems. And I think that's really huge. I actually talked to Dr. Ryan Ryder with the Halsa Group in the UK just last week. And he was talking about his referral systems and gave a ton of valuable content out. And that is what this is all about. That's what this podcast is all about. So, Doc, we're coming up on 30 minutes. I know you're a busy guy. You gotta do big things. And so I want to give you a chance to, give us a closing remark, closing statement, as well as any contact information that you can share with us so that students and people watching this can reach out to you at any time and just kind of pick your brain and ask questions, because you're an amazing, amazing, amazing resource to have.
I love it, brother. Thank you, man. I mean, we are the company. We keep, the axiomatic statement that birds of a feather flock together. It's true. So, who's that 5 closest people in your life, but who's also that 5 closest ideas that you spend most time with? What are you watching? What are you consuming? What's the programming that you're putting into your brain? So with that said, you can reach me at www.axiomseminar.com. That's axiomseminar.com. You can get your tickets there. Look, all the money that we make from the seminar, it's going right back to the profession, whether it's to the schools, to the students, or to the IAEC, which is the International Accrediting Agency for Vertebral Subluxation, which we're excited to hopefully partner with them. We're waiting back to hear from the board. So look, man, stop, whatever you're doing, just do more of, because we need more chiropractors correcting vertebral subluxation. We need more chiropractors that understand the philosophy, that transmit that philosophy to help evolve and unleash the greatness within everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Johnny.
Absolutely. Hey, anytime. Thank you for being here. I am going to quickly do a shameless plug. If you are a chiropractor out there, you're looking to hire your next best associate, next best independent contractor, or you're looking to sell your chiropractic practice, whatever job advert you have for chiropractic, I would love to host it on our site. Head to postachiropracticjob.com now. Head to postachiropracticjob.com now to post your chiropractic job advert with us. Dr. Jonathan, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Norway. And I'm so glad we'll share this all around Facebook if we haven't already. And we will get this in front of as many people as possible, because there were so many golden nuggets. I didn't quite get to 3 pages, but I got to 2. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm sure I'll get to like 17 by the time I watch this again and again and again. So, Doc, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for being here, and keep doing what you're doing for Axiom, for the profession, and for vertebral subluxation all around the world.
Thank you, brother. Make it a beautiful day.
You too.
Ciao.